In my 10 years of playing Pokemon TCG, this peculiar rule has never occurred in any of the TCG matches. Welcome players to the road to the SM tournament report where the stakes are high and the games more intense than ever before. This time our brave trainers will face each other in best of one Swiss format, and after 4 rounds, top 4 players will advance to the top cut where one player will receive the ultimate reward of getting automatic round 1 victory to the SM tournament itself. If you don't know what SM tournament is, check this out. So in short, SM Tournament is one of the biggest unofficial Pokemon TCG tournament hosted in Finland ever. So it is very big, we have so many players coming and we have so much exciting games in store for you. All of those amazing players that you might have seen on regional streams, YouTube or even in live tournaments are soon gathering together to compete for the title of SM Champion. But before we get to the tournament itself, let's take a closer look at the metagame that we are currently showing you. So this time the meta looks like this. We have 4 Dragapults, Cloaking, Zoroark, Garchomp, Team Rocket's Honchkrow and Team Rocket's Mewtwo attending this event. Latest set played in this tournament is Chaos Rising. Chaos Rising brought several strong cards to the game. Zoroark received Transformation Tome, which allows it to swap one of their basic Pokemon from the field into one of their basic Pokemon residing in the discard pile. This means Meowth, Zekrom or even Mungidori can be swapped into Zorua or Darumaka, and if the Pokemon that was swapped has been on play for at least one turn, it can evolve immediately. Cloaking received Metagross, which allows it to deal 300 damage, and finally knock out Zoroark X, Mega Kangaskhan X and Team Rocket's Mewtwo X with one hit. Dragapult got special red card. In the first round, surprisingly, almost all of the non-Dragapults faced each other, and in this peculiar round in Slowking vs Zoroark matchup, the lone Slowpoke literally devoured its way to victory as it took out 2 Badoos before evolving and led the Slowking into victory. Round 1 would end with Slowking, Team Rocket's gang and 2 Dragapults claiming victory. Now surely this would mean that the Dragapults would actually face the non-Dragapults and there would be no more like a rogue decks facing against each other. Well, guess again. Slowking vs Honchkrow, Mewtwo vs Dragapult and yet another Dragapult mirror. In round 2, Mewtwo was testing its mettle against Dragapult as due to the slow start Mewtwo managed to take the upper hand targeting Dusclops and taking them out before any explosions could ever occur. In the halfway point we had Team Rocket's gang and 1 Dragapult leading the race with 2 wins each, and the rest were following up with 1 win each. This meant if Team Rocket managed to take 1 more win, they would be very close to the top cut seeds. This also meant that the evil Team Rocket members would face off in round 3. In a battle between Dragapult vs Garchomp, however, it was looking like the Blue Eyes White Dragon would finally claim victory, but thanks to the Dark Magician, aka Dusnor, Dragapult manages to turn the tides and claim really important victory. At this point there are only 2 players with undefeated score, it is Dragapult and it is Honchkrow, and following them are Slowking, Zoroark and Mewtwo, and this means that if the Dragapult vs Honchkrow game ends in tie, only 2 of these remaining 3 contestants will manage to climb into the top cut. In the decisive battle between Slowking and Mewtwo, due to the worst possible draw ever, Slowking was forced to use Clefairy as their attacker, which technically meant 2 extra prizes for Team Rocket to steal. However, due to the lack of bench Pokemon, this brave fairy managed to take 2 prize lead before Team Rocket could set up and allowed it Slowking to keep up the price race until the last prize card. Absolutely well done by the Slowking, but there is still more to come as now we have the Elite Four already. We had Slowking, Zoroark, Honchkrow and Dragapult currently facing us each other to determine which one of these 4 players would receive the bye to the Great Assam main event tournament, which is to come soon enough. Which deck actually managed to climb their way into the top finals? Top 4 matches were Zoroark vs Honchkrow and Slowking vs Dragapult. Normally, Zoroark would struggle against Honchkrow due to not being able to take multiple prizes without Darmanitan. However, sadly the Lady Luck was not with Team Rocket this time. Honchkrow get the prize lead, but unfortunately it didn't manage to draw the necessary energy in either game, which allowed slow Zoroark to take it home with clean 2-0 victory. Meanwhile, on the other side, Slowking managed to slay the dragon, which meant it was finally time for the Slowking and Zoroark to determine which one would be named champion. This match would also be one of the kind because in this match a very rare ruling situation occurred that you will now get to see yourself. Game 1 would start with Yveltal corner strategy, thus buying Zoroark several extra turns to get their game going. This was countered by giving 1 telepathic energy to Fezandipity EX each turn and thus allowing it to launch an attack instead. This single play pattern from both players eventually led to the situation that you will now get to see. In this board, Zoroark has drawn all cards and has no recovered card in order to attack with any of their Pokémon. Likewise, due to the earlier corner block, Slowking has only 1 energy in hand, all attackers switch cards and 2 Night Stretchers in their discard pile. This would mean that neither player could take the remaining prize cards, and thanks to Academy Knight, neither player could take out either. So how would this game actually end? So in the rulebook there is 70.4.3.2, which is resolving a game that cannot otherwise reach a natural end. On extremely rare occasions, competitors may encounter a situation in which it is impossible for a game to reach a natural conclusion without outside assistance. For example, when it is impossible for either competitor's deck to take any further prize cards. So basically we were at this situation. I was literally looking at the game like, please no, please do not do this. So did this actually happen? Let's go check out the rest of the clip. So it turns out Slowking did manage to draw their final Night Stretcher from their prizes, which meant Game 1 victory for Slowking. Game 2 would begin with Lucky Helmet Shunmutsun versus Fort Soruas, and as the fates would have it, this would lead Slowking to get triple KO with Kyurem, and thanks to that winning the prize race against the final boss of this tournament. Absolutely incredible done by Slowking. The Slow Master has now finally risen from the grave, and this means that the Infinity Prints TCG Road to Assam Tournament Champion is Slowking deck that you can now see on the screen. Very well played, very well countered. It is very good in this metagame, and with Pitch Black coming it still gets more cards from it. It is very well done. And that concludes our first Road to Assam tournament series. Thank you so much for watching. Into the future videos you will get to see if Slowking can actually take it home, and how will the rest of the JKL can do into the one of the biggest tournaments ever hosted in Finland in Pokemontcg scene. It is just around the corner and we cannot wait to see you there. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video or future TCG content, do throw a like and subscribe to the channel. It is completely free and it allows us to keep making this content for you and support the players.